From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day. Radyo Pilipinas World Service can also be heard on shortwave broadcast through the shortwave facilities of the United States Agency for Global Media or Voice of America on the following shortwave frequencies: 15.640 MHz, 17.750 MHz, and 21.720 MHz. I'm your host, Leo Magpayo, and this is Dateline Malacañang. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. convened the first Legislative Executive Development Advisory Council or LEDAC meeting of the 20th Congress on Thursday, pressing lawmakers to fast-track more than 20 priority bills aligned with his administration's reform agenda. Despite heavy rains, Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said the president remained firm in pushing measures to drive economic growth, strengthen governance, expand social protection, and improve public services. Among the headline proposals, the Anti-Political Dynasty Act, Party List System Reform Act, Freedom of Information Bill, and amendments to the Bank Deposits Secrecy Law under the BRIGHT Act. Fiscal reforms include the Philippine Budgeting Code, the Progress Bill, and a general tax amnesty. Also on the table, the Travel Tax Abolition Bill, revisions to the Coconut Farmers and Industry Trust Fund Act, and updates to the Fisheries Code. Energy sector reforms follow President Marcos's State of the Nation Address or SONA commitments, with amendments to the Electric Power Industry Reform Act or EPIRA, strengthening the Energy Regulatory Commission, and the Sariling Kuryente Act. Education and human capital measures were likewise prioritized, including the expanded National Nutrition Program Act, Classroom Building Acceleration Program Act, amendments to the Government Assistance to Students and Teachers in Private Education or GASP-PE, and Universal Access to Quality Tertiary Education Acts, and the creation of a National Coordinating Council for Education. Social protection bills include the Child Online Safety Act, National Center for Geriatric Health Act, Assistance to Individuals in Crisis Situations Act, amendments to the 4Ps Law, the Bagong Balikbayan Act, and revisions to the National Building Code. The LEDAC, the government's top consultative body, serves to harmonize the legislative priorities of the executive and Congress, ensuring alignment on reforms deemed critical to national development.
Dateline Malacañang.
Malacañang expressed optimism Thursday that the United States will ease the 12.5% tariff on Philippine exports, citing the government's strong stance against forced labor backed by existing laws and a newly issued Joint Administrative Order or JAO. Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said the Philippines has submitted the JAO signed by the Departments of Trade, Labor, and Finance to the Office of the U.S. Trade Representative or USTR as proof of compliance. She underscored that Philippine laws explicitly prohibit forced labor, with penalties for employers found guilty of violations. The JAO sets rules for investigating goods produced through forced labor and creates an interagency committee to evaluate complaints. While no timeline has been set for the USTR's review, Castro said coordination remains ongoing. Asked if the issue could be resolved before year-end, she replied the government remains hopeful. The U.S. imposed the 12.5% tariff after a trade investigation concluded that the Philippines imports goods linked to forced labor.
Yes, ang ating pong pamahalaan ay nakikipag-usap na po at ito po rin ay nabanggit ni ng DTI, Secretary Chris Roque, at lahat po ng kailangan ibigay na impormasyon na hindi po tayo lumalabag sa batas at hindi po tayo pumapayag sa forced labor. Marami po tayong batas na nagpapatunay na ito ay ipinagbabawal at ito ay may parusa kapag nahuli na nagkakaroon ang employers at nagpapatupad ng forced labor. So ngayon wala pang timeline na binibigay pero patuloy po ang pakikipagnegosasyon at pakikipag-coordinate with the USTR. Kailangan natin maging optimistic. Kailangan nating ipakita talaga na hindi tayo lumalabag sa batas. Siguro with all the laws that we have and the laws being implemented here in our country, we can say na we can prove them na the accusation that we are into forced labor is wrong.
That was Palace Press Officer Claire Castro.
Dateline Malacañang.
Malacañang on Thursday urged a return to decency and respect after videos surfaced showing students heckling President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. during his visit to Davao City. The appeal followed an apology from the Department of Education or DepEd's Schools Division of Davao, which said the learners involved are now facing disciplinary action, counseling, and values formation programs. Palace Press Officer Claire Castro underscored the importance of setting good examples for the youth. Castro lamented that the incident happened in a school setting where values and character are expected to be nurtured. The palace official called on Filipinos to help instill good values among the youth. DepEd earlier emphasized that the behavior of the students does not reflect the values of respect, discipline, and responsibility that their schools uphold.
Dateline Malacañang.
Malacañang is studying possible legal action against those behind false reports claiming Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa had been arrested, warning that the government will not tolerate the deliberate spread of fake news. Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said Thursday that Presidential Communications Office or PCO Secretary Dave Gomez has directed the agency's anti-fake news desk to trace the source and spread of the misinformation. Authorities are examining whether the posts were made with malicious intent and are seeking cooperation from mainstream media to curb the circulation of false claims.
Nakausap po natin mismo si Secretary Dave Gomez at ipinag-utos na rin po niya sa anti-fake news desk natin na tignan lahat ang nagpapakalat ng mga fake news katulad ng nangyari dito sa di umanong pagpapaaresto kay Senator Bato de la Rosa at titignan din natin kung ito ba ay malisyoso at atin ding hinihingi ng tulong hindi lamang sa parte ng gobyerno, kundi sa parte na rin ng mainstream media. Inaasahan po kayo ng gobyerno na makipagtulungan din po dahil kung alam natin na ang source ay walang kwentang source, siguro hindi po natin dapat na maging sanhi na rin tayo na ito ay makalat. Maraming salamat sa inyong tulong.
Investigators are also probing the role of internet trolls in amplifying the false reports. De La Rosa remains in hiding after the International Criminal Court, or ICC, issued a warrant for his arrest over alleged involvement in the Duterte administration's anti-drug campaign. Castro confirmed that operations to arrest him are ongoing, citing Interior Secretary John Vic Remulla's earlier statements, and said President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s directive to pursue De La Rosa still stands. Law enforcement agencies quickly denied the arrest rumors, which the palace described as a diversionary tactic aimed at shifting public attention away from the impeachment proceedings against Vice President Sara Duterte. Officials noted that personalities allied with the vice president were among those who posted cryptic social media messages insinuating De La Rosa's arrest.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Office of the Ombudsman now holds the authority to decide whether Health Secretary Jose Brix Pujalte Jr. should be placed under preventive suspension following the filing of a complaint against him. In a briefing Thursday, Palace Press Officer Claire Castro confirmed that the case has been elevated to the Ombudsman, placing the matter under its jurisdiction.
So nasa jurisdiction na rin po ng Ombudsman kung siya ay kinakailangan na magpataw ng preventive suspension para sa mas malinis na pag-iimbestiga sa naturang reklamo.
Asked if President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. believes suspension is necessary, Castro said she has no information indicating that the president and the health chief have discussed the issue. The complaint, endorsed by the Presidential Complaints Center, reportedly cites alleged delays in the procurement of anti-tuberculosis commodities. It was filed a week after Pujalte denied accusations linking him to gambling in Parañaque casinos.
Dateline Malacañang.
Malacañang on Thursday welcomed the continued easing of inflation in July, saying it reflects the administration's efforts to rein in price pressures while remaining alert to risks from geopolitical tensions and adverse weather. Palace Press Officer Claire Castro announced that headline inflation slowed to 6.2% in July, down from 6.4% in June, driven mainly by slower non-food inflation, while food inflation stayed stable. Castro urged the public to stay alert, warning that ongoing geopolitical tensions in the Middle East and the impact of El Niño continue to threaten food and energy prices. Inflation in the National Capital Region, or NCR, eased further to 4.4% from 4.9%, reflecting slower increases in housing-related costs. Transport costs also moderated as fuel price pressures eased, with diesel and gasoline inflation slowing. Food prices showed improvement as well, with pork and chicken becoming cheaper due to ample supply, while vegetable inflation eased with lower prices of eggplant, garlic, and onions. Rice prices also stabilized with month-on-month declines despite elevated annual inflation caused by base effects.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has authorized the Department of the Interior and Local Government or DILG Secretary to delegate the approval of foreign travel requests of local government officials to designated representatives in a bid to speed up government processes. Under Administrative Order or AO number 47, signed by Executive Secretary Ralph Recto by authority of the President, the measure amends AO 267 of 1992 to allow the DILG chief to further delegate the authority previously vested in the office. The order explained that the amendment seeks to make travel application processing more responsive amid rising requests and growing demands for regional coordination. Under the Local Government Code or Republic Act 7160, local officials must secure approval from the Office of the President for foreign travel exceeding 3 months during emergencies or when public funds are involved. AO 267 had delegated this authority to the DILG Secretary. AO 47 now allows the DILG chief to pass that authority to designated representatives for faster processing. The order also cited Executive Order or EO number 77 of 2019, which governs official travel of government personnel, stressing the need for more responsive systems while preserving accountability. AO 47 takes effect immediately upon publication in the Official Gazette or a newspaper of general circulation.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has signed into law a measure granting the Department of Education or DepEd greater flexibility in determining the most effective teaching methods for the country's basic education curriculum. The new law, Republic Act or RA number 12322, signed on August 2nd, amends the Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2013 or RA 10533 to allow DepEd to adopt pedagogical approaches it deems most effective in ensuring students' mastery of knowledge and skills. The amendment removes the previous provision prescribing specific standards and principles for curriculum development, giving DepEd more room to respond to evolving educational needs and implement evidence-based practices. RA 12322 also requires DepEd to conduct a comprehensive review of the basic education curriculum every 5 years to ensure it remains relevant, responsive, and effective for learners. The law takes effect 15 days after publication in the Official Gazette or in a newspaper of general circulation.
Dateline Malacañang.
In other developments, the United States has formally requested the extradition of Kingdom of Jesus Christ founder Pastor Apollo Quiboloy, a ranking Philippine official confirmed Thursday. Philippine Ambassador to Washington, Jose Manuel Romualdez said, the U.S. State Department transmitted the request to the Department of Justice or DOJ, seeking Quiboloy's immediate extradition over multiple cases filed in America. The request stems from Quiboloy's 2021 indictment in California on charges of sex trafficking of minors, fraud, and bulk cash smuggling. The Department of Foreign Affairs, or DFA, confirmed receipt of the request and has endorsed it to the DOJ. Under the 1994 RP-US extradition treaty, the Philippines may either hold off until Quiboloy's local cases are resolved or temporarily surrender him to U.S. custody for trial. Senator Risa Ontiveros welcomed the move, saying extradition would help end Quiboloy's influence, which she claimed continues to embolden his followers to harass survivors who testified against him. DOJ spokesperson Paulo Martinez clarified the government has two options under the treaty: defer extradition until local cases conclude, or temporarily hand him over to U.S. authorities subject to agreed conditions. Quiboloy, a self-styled televangelist, faces mounting legal pressure as both Philippine and U.S. authorities move to hold him accountable for alleged crimes against women and children.
Dateline Malacañang.
Six people were reported dead due to the combined effects of Tropical Storm Maymay and the enhanced southwest monsoon or habagat, the Philippine National Police or PNP said Thursday. PNP spokesperson Police Colonel Alan Ray Ko told reporters in Camp Crame that two young adults aged 20 and 22 died in a rockfall landslide in Rodriguez, Rizal. Drowning claimed two more lives, a 45-year-old man in Luna, La Union, and a 54-year-old man in Alaminos, Pangasinan. In Benguet, police confirmed a landslide in La Trinidad that buried an eatery in mud, killing two men aged 31 and 66. Ko said police monitored 3,012 evacuees in 55 centers across affected regions. At least 877 officers were deployed for disaster response, with more than 10,000 personnel on standby.
We have a total of 877 deployed na doon sa mga affected areas. And yung RSSF po natin, yung reserve forces, we have more than 10,000 are ready to be deployed. As of now, we have 4 casualties, 2 in a landslide in Rodriguez Rizal and drowning in La Union and Alaminos. Yung saan? Yung sa Baguio. Sa La Trinidad. So there was also a landslide in La Trinidad, Benguet. So sa quick response po ng kasama ng ating mga other government agencies, together with our PNP personnel, we were able to rescue one. Unfortunately, 2 died dun po sa landslide. 66-year-old male as well as a 31-year-old male.
Meanwhile, the Office of Civil Defense said it is validating reports of 4 additional fatalities linked to landslide and rockslide incidents in Benguet and Rizal. Search and rescue operations remain ongoing.
Dateline Malacañang.
In other news, the Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, on Thursday clarified that the Unified Package for Livelihoods, Industry, Food and Transport, or Uplift Assistance is fully funded by the national government through the agency, not from Social Security System or SSS members' contributions. DSWD spokesperson Assistant Secretary Irene Dumlao stressed that the financial aid being released to qualified SSS beneficiaries comes from the DSWD budget. She explained that while the SSS helps identify qualified members and facilitate disbursement, the funds are entirely sourced from the DSWD. Beneficiaries include those under the Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino Program or 4Ps, Walang Gutom Program or WGP, Philippine Statistics Authority or PSA's Community-Based Monitoring System, and qualified SSS members. The clarification comes amid social media claims that the monthly aid is deducted from SSS contributions. Dumlao emphasized that not all members are covered, as eligibility is based on specific criteria. Qualified SSS beneficiaries must be employed members earning below 20,000 pesos monthly, have paid at least one contribution between 2025 and 2026, and hold an enrolled disbursement account. The Uplift program, a Marcos Jr. administration initiative, aims to ease the economic burden of poor and low-income Filipinos affected by the energy emergency triggered by geopolitical tensions in the Middle East.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Philippines and Romania have agreed to renew their labor cooperation framework and convene the first joint committee meeting under their 2021 Memorandum of Understanding aimed at strengthening safeguards for Filipino workers. In a statement Thursday, the Department of Migrant Workers, or DMW, said the agreement, covering ethical recruitment, fair working conditions, employer accountability, and social protection, was reached during bilateral talks in Bucharest. Migrant Workers Secretary Leo Magpayo met with Romanian Labor Minister Dragos Nicolae Pislaru and State Secretary Silvia Monica Dinica, underscoring the Philippines' commitment to safe and orderly labor migration. He highlighted the Philippines' 52-year experience in managing overseas employment and noted that about 2,000 Filipinos currently work in Romania, mostly in factories, automotive production lines, and households. The Philippine delegation also welcomed Romania's new labor migration policy, Emergency Ordinance Number 32/2026, which requires recruitment agencies and employers to secure licenses, registered digitally, and prohibits charging placement fees or commissions to foreign workers. Officials from both countries also discussed stronger safeguards for women migrant workers and measures to enhance employer accountability. Meanwhile, Kakdak updated Romanian officials on the Philippine delegation's visit to Tulcea following attacks on vessels in the northern Black Sea. The group paid tribute to a Filipino chief engineer killed in the incident and met with more than 200 overseas workers employed at VARD Tulcea to hear their concerns and discuss available assistance.
Dateline Malacañang.
Pag-ibig Fund has lowered housing loan interest rates and expanded loan options to make home ownership more affordable, in line with President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s vision of accessible housing for Filipinos. Under the revised scheme, qualified borrowers can benefit from reduced monthly amortizations during the first 3 years of their loan. In a briefing, Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said rates have been set at 4.5% for loans covering house and lot packages above 950,000 pesos and condominium units priced between 1.8 million and 4.9 million pesos. She added that loans ranging from 4.9 million pesos to 10 million, a promotional rate of 5.75% applies for the first 3 years. The program is available until December 31st, 2026, giving eligible members a limited window to take advantage of lighter monthly payments. Pag-ibig Fund emphasized that the initiative is designed to ease the financial burden of purchasing a home and encourage more families to invest in property. The housing loan adjustments form part of the administration's broader effort to provide decent and dignified housing under the Bagong Pilipinas vision.
Ngayon na ang tamang panahon para mag-avail ng Pag-ibig Housing Loan, alinsunod sa mithiin ni Pangulong Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. na gawing mas abot kamay ang pabahay para sa mga Pilipino. Pinababa na ang ng pag-ibig ang loan rates at pinalawak pa ang housing loan options na angkop sa inyong budget. Ibinaba na ang housing rates sa 4.5% sa first 3 years ng loan para sa house and lots na higit sa 950,000 pesos. Ang halaga at ang condo units na aabot sa higit 1.8 million hanggang 4.9 million pesos. Ginawa namang 5.75% ang promo rate para sa unang 3 taon ng housing loans na nagkakahalaga ng higit 4.9 million hanggang 10 million pesos. Sa tulong ng mas magaan na monthly payments, mas maginhawa na ang paglipat sa sarili mong tahanan. Para sa buong detalye, bumisita lamang sa kanilang website na pag-ibigfund.com.ph. Hanggang December 31, 2026 lang ang promo hanggang kaya ngayon ay mag-apply na po kayo. Dahil sa Bagong Pilipinas, abot kamay na ang disente at may dignidad na pabahay.
That was Palace Press Officer Claire Castro.
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, the rains brought by Tropical Storm Maymay and the southwest monsoon or Habagat have helped raise water levels at Angat Dam, the country's main source of water for Metro Manila. According to the Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical, and Astronomical Services Administration, or PAGASA's Hydrometeorology Division, the dam's level climbed to 158.13 meters as of 8 Thursday morning, up by 0.64 meters from Wednesday's 157.49 meters. Despite the increase, the level remains below the minimum operating requirement of 180 meters, which is needed to ensure stable water supply for households, irrigation, and power generation. Pagasa noted that other major dams also recorded slight increases in water elevation, including Ipo, Amboklao, Binga, San Roque, Pantabangan, Magat, and Caliraya. The agency continues to monitor inflows closely, stressing that while the rains have provided some relief, sustained precipitation is still necessary to bring Angat Dam back to safe operating levels. Authorities are urging the public to conserve water as the dam's elevation remains critically low even with the recent rise.
Dateline Malacañang.
Before we conclude our program, Radyo Pilipinas World Service of the Presidential Broadcast Service can be heard over the following shortwave frequencies: 15.640 MHz, 17.750 MHz, and 21.720 MHz. Radyo Pilipinas World Service is also live on audio streaming. Just download Evox PBS Receiver on your Google Play Store or the App Store from your Apple phone. You can also visit our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Just type in and search for Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our posts as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacañang. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day and mabuhay.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.